Hey everybody, Kevin Weiss from bodyperformance.net, and today I got another exercise technique video that I got from a few clients this week. That's why I decided to address it, and it has to do with the Romanian deadlift. And I'm pretty sure I've done quite a few videos already on this, but I see these mistakes constantly. And while I say these mistakes, there's usually one of two things that are going on. People are keeping their legs too straight and bending too much with their back. So I'll show that one. And the second one is people are keeping their putting their hips too low and keeping their back too upright, and they're essentially trying to make it into a safer version for their back, which is actually the opposite of what it does. It actually makes it worse. And they're bending their knees and they're not really using their hips at all. So before I even start to show the two flaws, the basic thing of the Romanian deadlift is the hip hinge. So with the bar being in front of you like this, there is no up and down of the knees, and there should be no movement of the back forward without the hips moving backwards. I always tell people the hips lead everything, and everything else just follows along or reacts to what the hips do. The hips hinge and the back will come forward. If you try and push your hips back but think you're doing your back a favor by staying upright, well, it makes you arc so that you don't fall over. Because if you don't arc and you push your hips back, you're gonna fall. This has to react to this. So as you're pushing your hips back, your chest must come over your toes. The bar will stay close. And this is what I really have to point out to people is, if you're just doing the hip hinge like this, and you watch my hips go back, 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 I cannot go any further than this without now doing something else that doesn't need to be done. And the two most common things I see are now people will, usually they haven't even bent their legs this much if they're doing this fold. They'll come like this. You'll see how my shins begin to angle backwards. And they'll get here, and then I don't know if they're trying to show me how much flexibility they have or what, but they end up like way down here. And their knees are essentially straight, and actually the shins are actually angled backwards. So that's the first mistake. The second mistake is you'll see people go, they actually do a pretty good job of it here, usually. And then they get to about this position here where they should be stopping, and now they continue to just go down by dropping it. So essentially it's like a regular deadlift that they end up doing, but quite often they bend their knees too early. They start bending their knees here, and they end up doing something like this because they think they're saving their back. So both of those are incorrect. And there is only one right way to do it, and that is to move with your hips. Imagine your hips are along a track. Everything else basically has no independent movement whatsoever. From here, as the hips push back and the bar lightly stays on my thighs, push back, push back, push back, push back, push back. I can't push back any further. My head and my back are both neutral and flat. Now from here, keeping the bar lightly touching, push and extend. It's a very simple movement that gets done wrong more often than not. So don't think it's a contest to see how far over you can bend. There is a different exercise, the stiff leg deadlift, where people are doing that, working their lower backs more and stuff. Not a huge fan of that exercise, but it has its place. This is a different exercise, and it's a hip hinge. Hips back, hips forward. Trying to save your back by staying upright, all that's going to do is actually make you go around your knees a little bit more and actually puts your back in a worse position. So hips back, hips through, keep the bar touching your legs. Don't overcomplicate it. Hope this helps you out. Kevin Weiss from bodyperformance.net. Talk to you again soon.